I've seen a whole lot of shit, Greg. I want to start with the big one. I saw the new Captain America movie, Captain America: Brave New World, or as I've been calling it, Cap 4. It's the
Okay,
fourth Captain
is
America
someone gonna
movie.
come in with a steel chair in a minute? I hope so.
I believe our own community manager, Denny Von Doom, is going to be jumping in here at some point to chat with me because he also saw it. I went and saw this movie on Monday, Greg, President's Day, very fittingly so, because this movie has strong presidential themes in the story. Um, Axeman says, I didn't hate it. Here's what I'll say. I also did not hate it. It was like, it was fine. I think that going into it, my expectations couldn't have been lower. Because I was like, boy, this looks bad. Boy, they've shot this movie 5 times. Boy, they've been talking about this movie for 8 years. They did the TV show. They cast like fucking Seth Rollins is gonna be in this movie. Now he's not in it. We had to recast. Um, uh, whatnot. We had Harrison Ford jumping and taking over for William Hurt. There's a whole bunch of shit going on with this movie that I was like, it's probably gonna be bad. It was just fine. I thought it was just fine. It was like a 7 out of 10 kind of a movie. Xmas's poor tactical decisions to make the scenes possible, but that's every movie. Sure, yeah, I mean you could always nitpick the stories in them, but I think just as like a Marvel movie, um, I think one the stuff with like the Harrison Ford president stuff, it was actually good. I was surprised, and I shouldn't be surprised that Harrison Ford's good in the movie. He's a phenomenal actor, one of the greatest to ever do it. But him and all the scenes like him and Anthony Mackie when they're like talking, about MCU stuff is good. The way this ties into like I think just the character Sam Wilson, who I like a lot. I'm a big Sam Wilson fan. I'm realizing that maybe more so than the average person. I loved the 2016 Sam Wilson Captain America comic run. Well, I just did that. And this one kind of borrows a little bit from that, not as much as I would have liked. But I like the relationship with him and Joaquin. Um, the action sequences are good where he's like flying around. It's like Top Gun where the he's flying through the skies like a jet. That stuff was really good. Obviously, it gets a bit rougher when you look at like, boy, third act action stuff gets real rough. Where it's like, man, we are on a soundstage in Burbank, California right now. So the effects on some of that stuff got real shaky. I think the story kind of meanders a little bit in the middle. The marketing for this movie was so strange because from the first like poster of this movie, they're showing you the Red Hawk. You see the fist, you see the hand throw down the shield. The trailers after that literally show Harrison Ford turning into Red Hawk. But in the movie, it's like a final reveal. It's like they don't talk about Red Hawk. It's like that's like the big like oh shit at the end of the movie when
Didn't
like
you said that? I think you
Harrison
said
Ford
that
turns into
in
the
the on Slack, right? You were like, they treat it like a
yeah,
reveal. Why do they do that? It's on the poster. They did that with the original
right.
Captain America too. Yeah, with Red Skulls, like they treat it like a
Where
huge reveal, and you're like, no.
yeah. Which to be fair to the movie, they didn't know when they were making the movie what the poster would look like or what the
Yeah,
trailers would look like. So
yeah,
it's not the movie's fault, it's the marketing's fault. Is why didn't you just leave that? You could just market this as say it was Captain America. Now, obviously, I've seen people argue that maybe Marvel was scared to try to market this squarely on, hey, this movie's about Sam Wilson, Captain America, and nothing else. They thought people wouldn't see it, so maybe they threw in Red Hawk to
yeah,
draw in people.
Well,
That
you're
very well
right
may be
about Marvel
true.
being
Yeah,
scared.
yeah. They
there you
are
go.
scared.
There's
Yeah.
Danny. Yeah, there he is. Danny, you also saw this movie recently over the previous weekend, so I'm curious
Yeah, I
what you thought.
did. I'm not sure if I should turn my camera on or not.
I
I'm
can
not sure
I
what's
can
gonna
fix it.
happen
You
if I
can fix
do.
it.
Oh
Was it written
no,
by Shane
I
Black?
can
That
try.
it wasn't written by Shane Black, right, Denny? So I think you're safe.
no, it was written by 7 other people.
There's no Shane Black in this one, thankfully.
No,
I figured that but yes, my brother was nice enough to actually buy me a ticket to go see the film
nice.
this past weekend. So we had a nice family outing to go catch some Captain America on President's Day weekend.
Yeah,
Good times. I brought my shield with me, just in case
there
I
you
need
go.
it
Yeah.
after
By
these
the
hot takes I'm about to drop. But Captain America, a movie where I've look, I feel like Anthony Mackie did the best of what he was given in this film because
I would
he's
agree.
definitely a standout in majority of the scenes he's in, and he's definitively Captain America. It comes across that way. and it's he's a highlight of the film itself in a very positive way moving forward. Like I have no concerns about him being involved in any kind of leadership position when it comes to the Avengers moving forward, which is also a point brought up in the film. Them bringing and spoiler alert that the Avengers are going to be a thing moving forward, and that that becomes a talking point brought up by President Ford of making the Avengers a team again, but he wants them under his control to a certain extent.
Right.
And when you think about Captain America, he's something that he's there to keep these things in check. He's not just a figurehead or a face for the country and the government side to use in that way, which is, I mean, you see that with U.S. Agent. That's what that is. Yeah. Like when they have that kind of control, he used to keep them, pretty much keep them honest in most cases. And so they use it in that way in the film, and it's smart. Unfortunately, the film forgets that it's a movie at times. In my opinion, it's like I felt like I was watching a really solid season premiere for like the first 45 minutes. And I was like, you know what, this would be a great opening to a season of TV right here.
Yeah.
Oh, we got another hour.
Well, could that just be because like the production is so high on TV shows now that the lines being blurred? Like because now you're getting TV shows that have the same look and feel as like a AAA summer blockbuster release.
I mean,
they're build. It's because they build up like this like kind of like political thriller kind of vibe where like you're trying to figure out what's happening and how it's happening, and they involve characters from the show, Falcon and Winter Soldier as well.
Yeah.
And those are like poignant moments that actually feel pretty, impressive in the moment where, their emotional tone is there. And you even have like moments where Steve, he's touching on, being the new Captain America and like, can he live up to that mantle? Am I really, I don't have a super soldier serum, any of that stuff, but like, can I be the Captain America that like Steve left me out here to be? And
I love that part of the movie because they come back to it a few times where they talk about the fact that Sam doesn't have the super soldier serum in him like Steve does, or even like Bucky Barnes does. No, like other moments where he's getting his ass kicked and he's like, I need to take that fucking serum. I thought those scenes were funny.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I guess one of my issues watching is it's just so clearly a movie that was like chopped and screwed so many times in like pre-production and the script, like the Giancarlo Esposito stuff, where he's like, it's like doing like the Serpent Society stuff, and like they're in the movie, and then we just forget about him, and he comes back, and I'm like, it feels like two different movies like clashing in the middle there. And then
you could tell that there was definitely like a bigger role there that just got chopped up like ridiculously to the point of which like
Seth Rollins was supposed to be in this movie, Denny. He's not in it.
Yeah, there was no stomp in this movie.
Yeah, he's not even in it.
Like there's just parts of where I'm like, you can like they even when they mention him, like they're like sidewinder him, but like they don't explain any of that at the beginning. You're just like, he's getting attacked, and it's like you have an actor as big as Giancarlo Esposito in this movie, who you barely see any trailers or any kind of dialogue from at all. When he's saying like some of the most poignant stuff at the beginning of the film, it's like, why was this chopped up this way in a way that makes no sense for that to be intimidating? You have a big, shadowy leader, in the background, who we're not going to get, to the effects there on that character.
Oh, leader Ozzy didn't like them. Ozzy did not like the way leader looked in this movie.
There's the big shadowy, poignant. Like, is this an organization? Is it one person? Is it, the probability of my plans going correctly here are 89.9% that you would choose this decision to not die? Like, all right, man. Like, this is what we're doing here. Is it? Are we playing?
Do you guys?
We're playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh. Do you guys feel that? I mean, obviously, this movie did have like reshoots and like rewrites and was kind of chopped up. But do you think that plays more to like the MCU coming into factor? Oh well, we have plans for this movie or this TV show, so we have to make. We'll use them later. We'll cut them out and we'll use them in this thing. Do you feel like that was maybe a factor in why we don't see a lot of him, or why you kind of forget about him?
I personally feel like there was a level of studio confidence that wasn't there for the film, in a way that like wouldn't be the case if there had been a stronger voice or like director and leadership involved in like saying, this is my movie and this is what I'm going to do with this project. Like there's clearly other hands in the pot. It felt like that got involved in this in a way that like did not help the movie at all. And that's more of like the issue. It comes across that way because it seems like it like when you have like the elements that are like are shot well, the action sequences that look good, and the scenes between Sam talking with some of the other characters in the film, where you're like, this was clearly thought out, and like this was a poignant part of the script they wanted to keep involved. And then you like when it goes off the deep end, it goes off the deep end hard. Like you're like, I'm sitting there at IMAX like, man, that green screen is really. They try to cover it up, but it was like, this is supposed to be Washington D.C., but I know damn well it's not right now.
Yeah,
like it was hefty. Like
I've been watching too much Invincible and The Boys because I've seen the whole Hulk fight on YouTube already. Like the whole thing's up in like segments, and like the second Anthony got grabbed by the Hulk by his head, I'm like, oh, he's dead. And then like, he throws him like, oh right, wait, it's not The Boys, it's different. I was like, right, less violent, more fun.
But it's also just like the pure like
shit too much.
They never even like explain like the fact that like the Hulk himself isn't like the Red Hulk is not as strong as regular Hulk, so people will assume that like it's going to be one thing and it's not, and they don't go into like any of that either. And then he's just pure anger, just angry. Just like, I'm going to attack everyone in front of me and everyone needs to die. Like there's no like, he goes completely off the deep end, but there's no like reining in of any of that anger or like focusing outside of like Falcon, Captain America needs to die. Falcon, everyone else in here needs to die too. We didn't talk about Falcon at all, but like he was a cool character, a solid side
Joaquin,
character.
I like him. I like Joaquin.
Yeah, like that was
he's good.
There was some good stuff there, some good buddy comedy kind of action.
Yeah,
that worked and it was solid.
Was it you, Denny, or Donna that was talking about how when the Hulk attacks everybody, everyone's like, just another Tuesday. Like they're just like acting like it's completely no.
Yeah, it's just like like imagine just like watching CNN and then like the president giving a speech and then like, all right, everyone, the president has transformed into a Hulk and he is now attacking he's attacking the White House.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut to break real quick here before we get in the weather. But if you want to check back in a couple of minutes, we'll check and see where he's doing next. So he's attacking the Washington Monument now. If you're coming down the highway on that side, you might want to take a different exit. Like,
yep. That's pretty much how it feels at this point. Which, to be fair, it's like half these people also got snapped out of existence for 5 years. So I guess what does surprise you these days? But yeah,
I will say that the one weird thing though, like to me, was that like they don't acknowledge like how long it's been between that Incredible Hulk movie at all.
Dude, this is a pseudo sequel to the Incredible Hulk, 2000.
Yeah, basically, like it threw me off so heavily. I was like, wait, what? Abomination? What year is this?
So much of this movie is about Thunderbolt Ross and his relationship with his daughter Betty, who is played by Liv Tyler, who comes back from the fucking 2009 Hulk movie with Edward Norton. They show clips from it. They don't show his face because Hulk doesn't look like that anymore.
Oh, wow.
But they show clips from the Hulk movie, like security footage. He's like knocking shit through the streets. We get Leader back as a villain. I forget the name of the actual character, who was in the Incredible Hulk. It's that actor again. Everyone's back, but the goddamn Hulk. But yeah,
it was basically like it was like half a pseudo half a Hulk strip, like a Hulk sequel, and then half a Captain America film, and they just like smashed them together into like one project. Where you're like, what is going on here? Like, but that threw me off so hard when I saw like an Abomination clip from that like version of Abomination from like 15 years ago. So it was crazy.
So
I was like, wait, what? Like, I was literally squinting in the theater and it's already a massive screen. Just like, is that who back there? That's not the Hulk I remember. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that did happen, didn't it?
Oh, right. Edward Norton was in this at one point. You still remember all the old stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
Sucked up from Edward Norton Hulk. Yeah. It's so tough right now with Marvel stuff because there's so much bullshit that's happened behind the scenes with these fucking movies. Not just with the movies themselves, but the whole grand universe. Obviously, the whole hard detour, veer left, drive off the road to get away from the Kang storyline after the allegations against Jonathan Majors, where they just dropped the Kang story. The next movie was supposed to have Kang in the title, The Avengers. They're making it a Doctor Doom movie. They're bringing Robert Downey Jr. in. People are saying they're not in the movie. Clearly, there's like a creative like overhaul happening in the middle of movies that were already written and designed to set up other storylines. So we're just in this awkward period where everything is like being pivoted either softly or very strongly to fit what's going to actually be the story now, because this thing they thought was going to be another 10 years of movies isn't going to be their thing anymore. So yeah, I feel like that just shines through in everything they're releasing right now. I will say, all that considered, I thought Captain America was better than I thought it would be. I genuinely thought it was going to be like a horrible train wreck of a movie, but I thought there's some really good
Yeah,
performances.
I had some rough vibes about it too.
Yeah.
Beforehand,
Um,
but you know,
I
it hits
liked,
that solid 7 range.
yeah, I'd say so too. I like Isaiah Bradley in there. All the stuff to do with Carl Lumbly. I mean,
Yeah, that was good
his
stuff.
performance so good in there. But yeah,
And
I
that's what brought
also
me back to
other
the show
stuff.
and stuff like that too. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what, this would have been like if we had done like kind of a little mini series with like a 4-episode joint, and you just had time that because the thing that I felt like was not talked about enough was him feeling inadequate as Captain America and wanting to like fill in those shoes. And they bring it up during the movie, but you can tell it's like it's an afterthought. Like he talks about it, you know, in certain scenes, and you have Bucky make the appearance and stuff like that. But I feel like if they had actually let that grow with like a rivalry between him and Giancarlo's character and stuff like that over time, it could have been some really strong stuff by the end. And obviously, Giancarlo, I mean, Breaking Bad, that man knows how to do some TV. You know
He
how
does.
to how to
He
work
does.
his way through multiple scenes and storytelling over time. They could have really built that up over a couple episodes or something. I feel like it made it into something a bit different. At the same time, though, I am hyped that we've got Sam as Cap, and he's got his own movie and taking on the mantle in that way.
Yeah.
And the movie's already made back his budget, so it's not like they can say it's a failure on that end. It's,
No, I think it was the second highest opening weekend for a Cap movie. I think behind Civil War is the only one that did bigger opening weekend, which makes sense. I'm with you though. I like Sam Wilson, Captain America. I like him in the comics. I like Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson. Watching him talk about the character at press junkets leading up, he obviously cares a lot about the character and him being in that mantle. So as much as I think that the next Avengers movie is probably going to be some variation of a hot mess, I do look forward to seeing him as like the leader of that team. I think that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I like that actor as a person too. He seems like just a really good guy who's super busy doing all these projects, and he always he just seems like a good
Twisted
person.
Metal, baby.
You know, like yeah. I could be completely wrong, but he just seems that way. Like in the interviews I've seen him in like photos outside of his movies, he just seems like a really nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Mackie. So
Yeah.
I'm excited that he gets to lead that series going forward.
Yeah.
But
I feel like this could have gone like there was opportunity to go a bit deeper here. I feel like if they had gotten like the room to, obviously it's a Marvel project, but I feel like if there's been like a project like what Daredevil's going to be in a couple weeks, and then you had gotten like a solid like TV opportunity there, I think that we could have gotten some deeper stuff with a Black Captain America heading to the White House for private meetings with the president, where he's experimenting on people basically in the basement, and like having those kind of conversations would have been a deeper thing than like, here guys, here's your big President's Day movie, and some Hulk action for like 3 minutes, but
that was the weird decision about the MCU in general, was that like in Civil War specifically, that movie, it was Shield was an offshoot of the government. Like they were government technically like run by them. There's just a special section of it, and like they acted like they were mercenaries or like free cannons or whatever, like just vigilantes, and they weren't. And you bring it up again here because Shield's been gone for a long time, right? There is no Shield. Like it's just gone. Right, I've lost track of that, but there is no Shield, right, Danny? There's no Shield anymore.
Yeah, because as you had like Nick Fury was like like it was like that version of Amanda Waller, where like we got to make sure we keep things on, and like there's too much shit happening everywhere that we have to keep an eye on at this point because this is popping up too much. And keep in mind that this universe right now doesn't have like a established X-Men or anything yet. So imagine like Magneto popping in and just being like, hey guys, I'm gonna just cause some more issues. So like there's plenty of like things they have to solve as far as both timelines and multiverses and all that stuff. But Captain America didn't have to be any of that, as far as the story goes.
Yeah, just
it could have been completely contained into like where do I fit in the legacy of what Steve Rogers already did? Where do I fit in the legacy of like starting up a new Avengers team? And then how do I like stop like some of these characters, and then you involve like the president's story and that kind of stuff. And that still would have worked. But instead, it mixed in a bunch of like Hulk characters into a movie that feels like it was completely different from what the initial beginning of that was supposed to be.
Vision, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'll say my final thoughts here, then I do want to get into our next review. You know, we just mentioned Breaking Bad and Giancarlo Esposito. Great episode of that show, with the great quote where they say no more half measures, you know. But Captain America is a movie filled with what I would call half measures, you know, from a production standpoint,
Ooh,
from a
bars.
screenwriting standpoint. It feels like there are a lot of half-baked ideas that could have been great. As I watch it, I like it, it's fine, but it does make me sad because I can see the bones of a really awesome kick-ass Captain America movie that could have
Mhm.
easily been on par with the other three, which I like quite a bit. But for a million reasons, it doesn't quite hit that potential. So there you have it.
I
Brave
mean,
New
I'll
World.
basically say, that I give, it's always easy to like talk about Winter Soldier in that film being as awesome as
Yeah.
it is. But to be fair, it had Spidey and Black Panther in it. It was guaranteed to like
Civil War,
be
you're
a
talking
banger.
about,
And
yeah.
yeah, Civil
Yeah.
War,
Yeah.
it was guaranteed to have like that element in there to a certain extent where like it was hard to fail. But of
Yeah.
course they nailed it. But
Mhm.
like when I was watching the first, say like 35, 40 minutes of this movie, like I was like, this is actually working for me. All right, we got
Same.
like this is the elements that we're putting together here and how it's coming
Yeah.
together. This is excellent.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
and then when it makes that shift, it makes it hard. So that brings
Yeah.
that down and that score down appropriately. But I feel
Yeah.
like the elements of like where Captain America goes and where he can go moving forward, there's still potential there in a positive light that I feel like they can build on. So, man,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Sam, I'm happy to see you out here. Salute.
There you go. I'm right there with you. Well, there you go. There's our review of Captain America: Brave New World, the fourth Cap movie, the latest MCU series to join the 4 movie club alongside Thor and the Avengers. I think are the only other ones that have 4 movies.